It's 6 p.m. on a Monday here in Korea. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let's start with the headlines. After repeated failed attempts to reach an agreement, South Korea's two main rival parties will try to meet halfway on redistricting constituencies before the April general elections, as well as passing an anti-terrorism act. President Park Geunhye meets with senior secretaries and calls for national security to be a top priority, while pushing reform drives as the answer to revitalizing the economy. North Korea reportedly sought peace treaty talks with the U.S. to formally end the Korean War just days before it carried out the fourth nuclear test. South Korea responds saying it should take the lead on talks and that denuclearization must come first. Over at South Korea's National Assembly, the main rival parties yet again failed to settle a number of pressing issues during their afternoon discussions, with plans to resume the talks at 9 p.m. tonight Korea time. Ahead of Tuesday's extraordinary session, the floor leaders of the ruling Saenuri Party and main opposition Minju Party of Korea held two rounds of talks with National Assembly Speaker Geunhye. With the April general elections coming up, the two parties are attempting to reach a compromise on redrawing the electoral map. Also on the table is the Anti-Terrorism Act aimed at bolstering national security against Pyongyang's possible attacks and the North Korea Human Rights Act. Chung told reporters that if bipartisan talks are once again stalled, he may exercise his authority as the Assembly Speaker to put the Anti-Terrorism Act to a vote. Chairing a meeting with her senior secretaries, President Park Geunhye called for preparatory measures against worsening external economic conditions, while also calling on her top aides to work harder to ensure the nation's security and safety. Song Ji-sun fills us in.
Noting the rising terror threats from North Korea, President Park Geunhye called on her senior secretaries to do their best for the nation's security and to guarantee the safety of the people.
현재의 엄중한 상황 하에서 국가 안보를 최우선으로 하면서 국민이 안심하고 생업에 종사할 수 있도록 비상한 각오로 업무에 만전을 기해 주기를 바랍니다.
Regarding last month's exports, which dropped by the fastest pace in 6 years, Park said external economic conditions are worse than expected, citing the slowdown in China and in other emerging economies. Saying that the recent fluctuations in global financial markets, coupled with the North Korean factor, could weigh on the South Korean economy, she stressed that reform drives must be continued to revitalize the economy.
지금은 당초 예상했던 것보다 훨씬 대외 경제 여건이 어려워진 상황입니다. 중국 경제 침체가 계속되고 있고 신흥국과 자원 부국들의 경제 불안이 커지고 있으며 세계 증시도 크게 흔들리고 있습니다. 가뜩이나 어려운 상황에 북한 핵실험과 미사일 도발로 고조된 한반도 긴장이 경제에 더 큰 부담으로 작용할 수 있습니다. 이럴 때일수록 우리 경제의 활력 제고와 구조개혁 성과 가시화를 더욱 적극적으로 추진해야 할 것입니다.
Following up on last week's investment promotion meeting, she reiterated that aside from regulations that are absolutely necessary, all should be lifted to ensure they do not hamper new growth engines. 송 Ji-sun, Arirang News.
South Korea and the U.S. have made clear that talks on North Korea's denuclearization must come first before starting any dialogue. This united stance comes as an American news outlet reported that Washington agreed to Pyongyang's proposal for talks to formally end the Korean War without the North having to take steps to curtail its nuclear arsenal. Connie Kim has the details.
South Korea has sent a clear message that it should be at the center of establishing a peace treaty with North Korea. This is in response to a report that the U.S. secretly agreed to hold talks with the North on formally ending the Korean War. According to the story published Sunday by the Wall Street Journal, Washington had dropped its preconditions that Pyongyang must take steps to denuclearize in order to hold talks, instead calling for its nuclear weapons program to be part of the discussion.
The peace treaty is not an issue between the U.S. and North Korea. South Korea should be leading discussions on this issue.
Pyongyang has long been seeking a peace treaty with Washington and to stop South Korea-U.S. joint military drills, which it views as a threat to the regime. U.S. State Department spokesman John Kirby clarified it was North Korea that first proposed peace talks and that Washington's response was in line with goals to denuclearize the North, which Pyongyang rejected. A South Korean government official also added that punishing Pyongyang for its nuclear test and long-range ballistic missile test is of utmost priority for Seoul and Washington. This is why some officials say it's taking the UN Security Council so long to come up with its strongest sanctions yet on North Korea for its latest provocations. Seoul says they're in the final stages of drafting the resolution, which could be announced as early as this week. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
South Korea's finance chief met with international media today to discuss the current condition of the Korean economy as well as future policy direction. According to the minister, North Korean issues will not have a major impact on the local economy as the country's strong economic fundamentals help counter external risks. Kim Min-ji tells us more.
South Korea's finance minister says North Korean issues will have a limited impact on the country's economy. Speaking to foreign press on Monday, Minister Yoo Il-ho said that the government is closely monitoring the situation to minimize any possible effects. Regarding the possible deployment of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System, or THAAD, Yoo said the move will not impact Seoul's economic cooperation with China, its biggest trading partner. China has been opposed to the move, calling on South Korea and the U.S. to withdraw the deployment plan. He stressed that the issue is a political one and thus will not have a big impact on the economic front. Noting uncertainties at home and abroad, the minister said the country will make all-out efforts to adopt effective market-friendly policies. Yoo, however, cited Korea's strong economic fundamentals, highlighting how it achieved firm growth in relative terms compared to other countries and possesses the capability to counter external risks thanks to ample foreign reserves and current account surplus. The minister said the government will maintain expansionary financial policies while continuing to focus on boosting investment, creating new jobs, as well as implementing new strategies to expand exports to meet current economic conditions. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
This Thursday will mark President Park's fourth year in office. To mark the occasion, we look back at the successes and failures over the last 12 months and look at what might be in store going forward. First in this series of reports, the president's handling of the economy by Hwang Ji-hye.
Despite sluggish global demand throughout last year, Korea still managed to post the third fastest growth rate among some major economies, thanks in part to the Park administration's aggressive stimulus measures. The country also posted a budget surplus for the first time in 4 years in 2015. And thanks to the country's sound fiscal health, Moody's upgraded Korea's credit rating by a notch late last year to its third highest grade, a record high for the nation.
Now, the real task facing President Park Geun-hye's economic team is pushing through structural reforms to tackle longer-term issues like the aging population to raise the country's growth potential.
In fact, Korea did make some progress in reforming the public sector last year by revising the public pension system for civil servants. Still, experts say there's a long way to go.
Public pension reform and measures to improve efficiency at public corporations were positive steps, but the government has faced criticism as the changes have not really boosted productivity.
And the task of reform is not the only issue the Park administration is facing.
The massive amount of household debt in Korea is a big burden. People are choosing to save money instead of spending.
Debt risks stemming from the corporate sector are also a sticking point. Experts say corporate restructuring should take place as the Park administration has planned. They say that while concerns about job losses and its effects on growth should be noted, further delay, as seen in previous administrations, could turn the problem into an even bigger crisis. Hwang Ji-hye, Arirang News.
The Korean government summoned a senior Japanese diplomat on Monday to urge Tokyo to stop its groundless claim over Korea's easternmost island of Dokdo. The foreign ministry said it is strongly against Japan's decision to dispatch a vice minister-level administrative official to this year's Takeshima Day celebration, which took place earlier today, and that such actions are counterproductive to improving diplomatic ties. The ministry added that the Korean government urges Japan to face up to its history of imperialism and prevent any such atrocities from occurring in the future. The complaint was lodged after Parliamentary Vice Minister of the Cabinet Office, Sakai Yasuyuki, attended the controversial ceremony for a fourth consecutive year. Korean authorities are warning that the nation's state-authorized verification certificates could be hacked with the spread of fake certificate issuing programs. The certificates were used by financial and government institutions to authenticate a user's identity when making transactions online. A Seoul prosecutor revealed on Sunday that they found evidence of certificate issuing software having been forged. An investigation is underway to find out whether codes were stolen from the security firms that created the software or developed independently. There have been no confirmed cases of accounts having been hacked, but the investigation is focused on finding out where and how the illegal software was developed. Korea's biggest tech firms, Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics, have unveiled their latest smartphone models ahead of the official opening of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Kim Ji-yeon gives us a glimpse of the Galaxy S7 and the G5.
Korea's leading smartphone maker Samsung Electronics and its local rival LG Electronics released their new flagship smartphones in Barcelona, Spain, which is hosting one of the biggest tech events, the Mobile World Congress, this week. Samsung's Galaxy S7 has a 5.1-inch screen with a curved glass back. The S7 Edge is curved at the left and right-hand edges, and the curved designs are what the company says makes them more comfortable to use with one hand.
Now, we usually use our phones with only one hand, but that can be challenging with a larger screen. So we rethought the design of the Edge to make it easier to use when you only have one thumb to spare. Just slide your thumb across the Edge, and the Edge panel glides onto the display. The wider panel allows for richer content, and it's easier to read.
Samsung Electronics also brought back some of the popular designs and features of its previous S6 model. They include a micro SD card slot, which enables users to expand storage without compromising the slim exterior. The phone can also stay submerged for 30 minutes in water, 1.5 meters deep, and still work just fine. While Samsung is improving its gadgets by mixing traditional and modern features, LG's new G5 smartphone brings in a whole new user paradigm. When the battery tray is removed, the slot can accept a variety of modules, including ones that provide enhanced camera controls, boost sound quality, and control drones.
The LG G5 is not the only device we'd like to introduce today. It comes with friends, extensive companion devices that enhance the user experience in dynamic ways. We'll introduce more friends, creating a new paradigm in smartphone ecosystems called LG Playground.
LG Electronics will start selling their new gadgets sometime next month. Samsung Electronics will begin global sales of the Galaxy S7 on March 11th. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News, Barcelona.
Fans of the Beatles in Korea who do not have an LP, CD, or tape player, rejoice. You will finally be able to listen to your favorite Beatles songs on local music sites. According to Universal Music Korea, a total of 17 Beatles albums will be available for streaming and downloading online and via mobile starting next Monday, February 29th. Beatles albums have only been available on LP, tape, or CD, and it was not only until 2010 Apple began offering Beatles studio albums for sale through iTunes. That streaming and downloading service first kicked off in December last year via Apple Music and Spotify in the US, along with some other countries. For those of us looking to shed some pounds or kilos, switching to a different type of rice could be a good place to start. Black rice not only has some anti-cancer properties, it also reduces body fat. Park Se-young shares with us the findings of researchers in Korea.
More people are eating different types of rice for a healthy lifestyle. Black rice contains one of the highest levels of anthocyanin antioxidants, which act as anti-cancer agents. The rice is also good for anti-aging and prevention against various diseases. And according to research, black rice also fights against obesity. Substances found in the outermost layer of black rice, including anthocyanin, inhibit lipogenesis and fat absorption. The researchers fed 10 out of 20 mice with black rice extract for 3 months. Compared to the control group, the mice that were fed the extract saw a nearly 26% reduction in obesity index and a 27.5% reduction in abdominal fat. Their blood cholesterol was also reduced by 10.5%. Postmenopausal women who took black rice extract capsules for 12 weeks also saw a more than 5% reduction in abdominal fat. Korea's Rural Development Administration will transfer its extraction technology of black rice to companies which will produce medicines and various health products. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
And that brings us to the end of our newscast. More updates coming your way at 10 p.m. Korea time with Geunhye News Center. Thank you for watching.